I've got a Traeger Timberline, what is this, 1300? Yeah, 1300. And I was thinking about trying to mount a rotisserie. And so I think the plan is to do something about like that. And that puts me, I don't know, it's about 7 inches from the top and 7 inches from the bottom and equal distance in the middle. And I'm hoping to just put small enough holes right here that I can do self-tapping metal screws to mount this. And so this will be one side of the rotisserie. Then I'll have to make the same hole here. We have 2 layers. I mean, I could try to take this all out, but frankly, I think I'm going to try and just drill through both layers. And then once I have the holes, I can mount the rotisserie here. So we'll see how it goes. Just a little update on my plan here. So I did buy this one grill kit from Amazon. It's supposed to be able to do 50 pounds. So it's supposed to be a little bit stronger motor, about $100. And I did buy the longest spit that they had, and this feels pretty thick and heavy duty. It's 53 inches. And my plan is to mount the hardware on the Traeger and then cut this to the exact length so that it fits internally on the right side of the grill on that bracket. To drill into the Traeger, I did buy a fairly expensive stepper bit. This will do up to 7/8 inch. This is got this at Lowe's for about $48 whopping dollars. So hopefully that makes my life easier. Oh, I did want to comment on the mounting instructions here. It seems a little odd. So this piece will go vertically against the drill, mounted to these 2 holes. And so that leaves 4 holes here. You note it's offset. So that's going to put an inch between the grill and the mounting hardware. Then that lines up on these 4 holes like that and goes sideways. So it feels a little strange. I'm sort of here thinking, since my Traeger is insulated, kind of feels like I could very easily. Oh, I see. So they gave me this heat shield that I'm supposed to put. The motor goes on here. But given that my Traeger has an inch separation in it already, I'm fairly confident I could put this right on the grill like that, and then the motor slides onto there. I'll have to think about that. All right, here's what it looks like. These screws go through this. This goes against the grill. This is the heat shield, and this is the plate that holds the motor. And these are threaded, so those threads sort of hold the whole thing together. Now, I wish there was like a locking washer that I could put on there. The screws are, you can see, really short, so there's no room for that. You know, I could always replace these screws with longer bolts and put a locking washer in there. And I think I'm going to go with this setup because this is the longer one. If I decide I don't like this setup, I could always replace this piece with just this piece at the same holes in the grill, and then I could cut my rotisserie bar shorter. All right, here's where I'm at. I was able to drill a hole. The stuff is tougher than it looks, thicker than it looks, and my self-tapping screws didn't work out so well. So there are these little bolts here in the side in this insulation panel, and I don't know what size this is. Does it say? Looks like it's 1/4 inch. And so I've been able to pull these out, and I think if I take these, there's one here, One back there. There's none over here. There's one in the middle here, one in the middle here. And I think there's one down in the back right there. I think if I take these out, I'll be able to get this far enough away from the side that I'll be able to put a bolt in through this way and just screw it on like that. I'm trying to minimize my profile on this side so I'm not snagging grills and whatnot going in and out. So, be hopefully something like this. I'll clear here, I'll clear above this grate, and it's basically 8 inches from this back side and 8 inches from this front. Is where 8 inches to the side of my bracket. Sorry, 8 inches to the side of my bracket is how I centered it. All right, here's where I'm at. I did put the second hole in before I removed this screw, and I got the last screw down there. I've got loose, just loose enough so I can kind of get in here. Look, where's my camera? Look behind it. So this is the heat sensor, and I should be able to get back there far enough with my hand, be able to slide a few screws through them holes, bolt them on from that side, put it all back together. Should be pretty good. That these came off a lot easier than I thought. I tried to turn them with the screwdriver. They are slotted, but man, I couldn't budge them, and I got my little socket out and turned easy after that. I did use 11/64 bit. That's kind of an odd size, I know. So I'll just take that bit with me to the hardware store and get the right size bolts. All right, I'm not sure how I'm going to cut the big hole. I do have this 3/4 inch bit, but the drilling is going pretty tough. So I was hoping to use what's called a spider bit. These things are supposed to be pretty tough and go through anything, but the one I got is a little big. So, oh, here's the bracket. So you can see that's the hole I'm supposed to have in this 3/4 inch bit. Not focusing worth a damn, but that's like the perfect size. I might go see if I can get a 3/4 inch spider driver, or spider bit, I think is what it's called. So here's where I'm at. This is where the motor mount's gonna go. So I drilled through here. Pretty sure this is stainless steel. It's pretty tough. It's non-magnetic. And I don't know, you can kind of see the coating peeled. So I'm gonna clean that up with, I have one of these little, I don't know, it's an abrasion bit, and I was just gonna kind of by hand get the burrs off. So there it is, deburred. Looks okay. I did end up taking this side completely off. It's just hanging by the wire from the sensor. And you can see there's the bracket mounting. So I'm just gonna screw it in on this side and hopefully get her back into place. All right, here's the first issue I think I've encountered. I got my bracket mounted, and this is gonna have to go in there. It's pretty tight on that railing for the grid, or the grate above. It looks like it's gonna work, but you know, if you ever attempt this, maybe cheat a little bit this way. All right, so I just have the, this is the mount that's gonna go on the outside of the grill, but I've got it mounted in here. I'm gonna use it as a guide. I got this big bit, and I'm just gonna get it started to give me a guide where I can use a stepper bit. You know, I have this stepper bit, and I've been told it should go easier with that, but I'm worried about, you know, getting the right center on the hole. So that's the plan. It's cold out. I gotta go warm my fingers before I try this. I'm also worried about this shelf issue that I cheated towards the front of the grill 1/4 inch. I might be trying to drill through the bottom of that shelf, and that is not gonna be good. It's gonna move the hole. Yikes. Here's a little bit of the stepper bit work. It's going okay. I am drilling through sort of both sides at the same time, so I'm not fighting myself. All right, here's what it looks like. You can see it was running into this that rail there, and it made it a lot harder on this side than it probably needed to be. It looks all right. This is outside. This is the full 3/4 inch. I left the inside hole just under that, and that would be at, don't know if you can see that on the camera, 11/16 maybe. So I'm gonna see if that works. I can make it bigger if I had to. All right, here's what it's looking like. This is mounted from the inside brackets. I haven't tightened these. I used a big washer here, a little washer there. If I use two big washers, the washers overlap, so I don't want to do that. Probably don't really need the washers. These are 1.5" stainless steel bolts. I've got another washer out here and a locking washer. Oh, pro tip, I'm using a magnet here to sort of hold this in place. This outer is magnetic. And I'm sort of thinking, I'm hoping that I can figure out a way to use a magnet to cover this hole. Hoping I can use that as a sort of a temporary cover when I'm not using the rotisserie. This magnet's pretty strong. I might get it in there and not be able to get it out, so I'll have to be careful. It looks all right. Okay, one issue I'm a little worried about is, this is just a floating piece. There's a bolt there, and a bolt here, and a bolt here. Sorry. These bolts, there's a spacer behind it. I'm a little bit worried as I'm tightening these up. I'm sort of sinking this in a little bit. Hard to tell. Maybe I'll put a grate in it and see how bad it looks. All right, there's a bottom grate in there. I guess it looks okay to me. Probably just go with it. I don't know, I'm not real thrilled how long these bolts turned out. Be hard to get them started with shorter bolts, but I think I'll probably just live with it. Oh, I do have the custom cover, and boy, that's going to be a pain in the backside, isn't it? I don't know if it'll go on there. It's going to snag every time going on and off. So I'm trying to figure out how to cut my bar off, so you can see it's way too long. And I can mark, this is how far the bar goes into the motor. And what I'll do is then I'll mount the motor on the bracket and measure essentially from here to right here, and I think that's the length I want. Measure twice, cut once, something like that. If you're curious, that's about how much deflection I got going there. Maybe 1/8 of an inch. I guess I'm thinking I could put some spacers behind that. Not sure what I would use. I have to go to the hardware store and look. Here's my measurements. I figure it's 2 1/4 from the edge of the grill to the surface of the motor. Yep, 2 1/4. The body here is 1 inch. Sorry, it's upside down. And then I measured from here. Keep in mind I got 1/8 inch deflection. Sorry, from the hole to this far edge is 34.5. So I've written it all down. 34.5, 35.5, 36, 37.5, plus 1/4, 37 3/4. Honestly, I'll probably cut it 1/2 inch long and make sure it looks okay. I think I get it in there if it's a 1/2 inch long. Cutting on an angle grinder. All right, so I have like this bamboo yardstake thing, and I've cut it to looks like the perfect width to go from the surface of the motor to over there. So I'll measure that. Probably cut at least 1/8 of an inch extra off. So I am noticing kind of a real danger here is, you know, when you're angled like this, it's pretty tight going in that hole, and my actual spit is wider. It's gonna be close. Well, we're gonna find out if this is gonna work. I ended up going 1/4 inch shorter. He's afraid of that. It's just too thick and it binds on the hole. Alright, might be able to slide the motor out and get it in there. Alright, I did keep chopping off pieces until I was able to get it to fit in. There's a little bit of play because the length of this bar is actually, or the spit is right at the edge of this bracket, but this piece is the part that sits in the bracket and rotates, and so you get a little bit of play there. And there's actually a really deep plunge here, so there's a little bit of wiggle there. You can see how much I got. I'm going to turn it on and see what happens. Oh. Alright, it's actually spinning and it's not binding up anywhere. So you can see there's my line. So that's how far short I am with the plunge. Probably be okay. Not ideal, you know. Obviously you'd like to be all the way in like that. Oh, look at that! I got enough play over here. I guess I can probably adjust that to get it really close. But the issue, it's a quiet motor. I can barely hear it. The issue, as you can see, is now when I try to get this off, I got the holes tight enough. It's just barely get it in and out. So, you know, if I got 2 turkeys on there, boy, it's going to be a pain. But I think it'll work. Here's my final measurement. So that's my mark for where deepest plunge into the motor. Where I last had the spit bracket there, it looks like 36 3/4 of an inch. Put my fingers in the way. Alright, so line there. And I'm about 36 5/8. I did put a little bevel on there. Doesn't really help you much. So there you go. I guess have to clean up, put everything back together, and try to cook. All right, here's the final word. I did eventually ream that out to the full 7/8 inch that my stepper bit would do. Same with this side. I've got the magnet in there to see how that works. It's kind of hard to get it in and out. I don't want to be scratching my surface. I have to figure something else out there. But I think it'll work. I guess I got to clean up and try the cover. That's going to be a pain, I know that. Oh, because I had to take that off to ream it out, I did go get some 1/4 inch aluminum spacers to put behind there. Sorry, 3/4 inch. I measured these spacers, the built-in ones. They're 3/4 inch, and that worked really well. That's really solid now, and I could really cinch those up. All right, good news. There is just enough play in the cover there for that to go on with that bracket there. All right, here we go. This is my cover. It's a much weaker, I don't know what you call this, a circular magnet. I got some cheap washer. I'll find a better magnet, better washer without a hole in it. And that's my hole cover. Very cool. And here are my two chickens. Initial run. So here we go. The grill's barely on. It just started it. Uh-oh. On. There she goes. All right, so on a Traeger 1300, the burner or the hot box is right in the center. So I did the legs and thighs towards the middle. I got the breast to the outside. I got a little drip tray here. I do have this grate on what's called the sear level, and we'll check back later. So far so good. Oh, I do have some meter probes, which kind of work. Cool. We'll check back. Oh, I'm gonna go at 375 for hour to hour and a half. See what happens. All right, we are about 2.5 hours in, and I did crank the heat to 400. Taking a little bit longer than I wanted. Ooh. Does look good. Pretty sure the tine or the chickens aren't shrinking, but my tines are walking around. So, see, it's loose. My meter probes are hitting about 170. So I'm gonna take them in. I'm sure they'll carry over to 180. They look amazing. Very good. So there you go. That's the money shot.